if he's not doing the Benavidez fight, then I foresee Canelo Alvarez doing Edgar Berlanga, because when you look at the landscape right now of the guys that are mandatories, the guys that are #1 contenders, that's the guy that's in the best position. You know, he's a name. He's Puerto Rican. He's got a fan base. And look, love him or hate him, you know, Edgar Berlanga is a polarizing figure in boxing. I would say these days it feels like most people dislike him more than like him just because they feel like he's overrated. But listen, as we stated many times here on True School Sports, money talks and bullshit walks. And look, when it comes to boxing, you see those two flags? You see those two flags right there? Puerto Rico, Mexico. When you get two high-profile names from those countries, generally speaking, that's what's going to generate money, because those are two boxing-proud powerhouse countries, and they're going to get behind their fighters no matter what. So I know people don't like it. I know, like, I've heard people say that they don't. I've heard Puerto Rican boxing fans say that they don't want Edgar Berlanga to fight Canelo Alvarez because they don't feel like he's worthy of representing us against Canelo, right? They feel like his boxing IQ is very rudimentary, isn't up to par, and he just has no chance against an experienced veteran fighter like Canelo Alvarez. Now, only Edgar can change the narrative by what he does in the ring, but honestly, that's the fight I think we're going to get. So if you're a fan of the super middleweight division and of boxing, prepare to see it. You're going to get it. Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Not in the way you want, but it's going to happen. You got to think about it too, right? Canelo Alvarez, he hasn't had like a big Puerto Rico-Mexico fight since Cotto. And that was what? We're talking, 7, 8 years ago? Damn near 9. I think it was 2015. I think we're talking about damn near 10 years ago now. So with that being said, there's not many fights I think could generate more money for Canelo Alvarez than a Berlanga fight. Just because, like I said, Berlanga's Puerto Rican. Berlanga has a polarizing personality. And I just think it's gonna be promoted really, really well. And I just remember too, like, when I was talking to Keith Conley, Edgar's manager. If you guys know Keith Conley, he's like one of the most esteemed managers in boxing. Keith Conley, I asked him about the potential of Berlanga fighting Diego Pacheco, which is a fight I think really and truthfully should be happening next. And it's not because he wants to secure that big payday for Canelo, which understandably so. As a manager, your job is to secure the biggest paydays and put your fighter in the most high-profile fights possible and giving him the best chance to succeed. Now, whether or not you feel Berlanga has the best chance to succeed, that's up to your opinion as a fan. But as far as from a money-making standpoint, if he gets in that fight, he's done his job, right? So I wanted them to fight each other, and he pretty much said,
for the untouchable, True School Sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for, because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I had to sound off on this because I've been telling y'all for a long time. I told you guys, as you saw in the beginning of this video, I told you guys all the way back in May. I said, once Canelo Alvarez got rid of that IBF belt to not fight William Skull, and that belt went vacant, I told you guys when I surveyed the landscape, Edgar Berlanga fight was the fight that made the most sense. I even went as far as to say and double down and said, look, I cannot see a reality where we don't see Edgar Berlanga versus Canelo next. It just makes too much sense at this moment in time. And I know there were rumblings of him versus Chris Eubank. I know Chris Eubank's manager, and I know they really wanted that fight for Chris, but I just think Chris Eubank got used for leverage. Honestly, I think the Chris Eubank situation was he was used just to get whatever he may have wanted in the negotiations with Berlanga, right? So with that being said, and with that being firmly established here on True School Sports, let's talk about it. Now, Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga is what a lot of you boxing fans always say you want. You always say you guys want Mexico versus Puerto Rico. So now you're getting it. You're getting it. Not the way you wanted it, but you're getting it. So this is why I always tell people, stop just being fans of fighters just because of the flag. Stop just going by the flag, because every now and then, actually many times, the promoters will use the flag against the same boxing fans that only want to support fighters by the flags that they carry and represent and where countries they're from. So that's a tricky thing to navigate through. But nonetheless, Canelo's gonna be a heavy favorite. I think I like Edgar Berlanga. I'm a fan of him. I would like to see him put it together this fight and at least give a good fight. And I'll say this. I'll make a bit of a prediction here, and some of you guys may disagree, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I don't think Edgar Berlanga is gonna beat Canelo, but I think he's gonna give Canelo a better fight than Jaime Munguia did. That's actually something I think. I think he's got some different dimensions to him than a guy like Jaime Munguia that will give Canelo some problems, like in the athleticism department and things like that. We'll see how it goes, but it's the first time Canelo's really had a big Puerto Rico Mexico fight since Cotto. It's been a long time. September the 14th is the day they're talking about. They're gonna fight at the T-Mobile Arena, as according to the reports. They're gonna be going head to head with UFC, and UFC that same day is gonna have their event at the Sphere. And I'll tell you guys this: I went to the Sphere recently, not for boxing, of course, because there hasn't been any boxing there. But I went there for the NHL draft. I was there celebrating the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup, and I had to let all the hockey fans in Vegas know who the champs of hockey were, right? So I went to the Sphere. It's an amazing venue. I would love there to be a fight there one day. But UFC's gonna have a fight there. I think some of you guys let me know who I don't know who was fighting there, but I just know that the boxing is going up against UFC that day. So the narrative is that Canelo Alvarez ducked Dave Benavidez, which we all knew was gonna happen. Like, he wasn't gonna fight Dave Benavidez because that's never really been in the plans. When he was at 68, it was never a priority to him. After he became undisputed at 168, it was still never a priority to him. And I say this as somebody who is not. I'm not a Benavidez fanboy, but it's just the truth. So he's fought guys that nobody asked him to fight, like Jermell Charlo, guys that most boxing fans didn't ask him to fight, like John Ryder. Even though I like John Ryder, and I didn't have a problem with that fight. He fought Jaime Munguia, which was a good fight for the Mexican fans and whatnot, but really, a lot of people wanted to see fight Benavidez. So Benavidez, as of yesterday, has declared that he is a light heavyweight, that he's going to be going that route, and that he's going to be looking to make some noise there. And the WBC's already stated that he is going to be the mandatory. So Dave Benavidez, as I was saying, he's going to stay at 175. We know that he was the interim champion at 68, but he had the option to stay at 75, and he's going to become the mandatory to the Bivol Beterbiev undisputed winner, which to me I think is very admirable. I got to give Benavidez his just due. I criticized Benavidez for a long time because I felt like he was hanging around chasing, this freckled face midget that didn't want to fight him. That's just the truth. He didn't want to fight Dave Benavidez. It wasn't on his immediate to-do list. So Canelo's been fighting every Tom, Dick, and Harry not named Dave Benavidez. He's been pretty much disrespecting the boxing fans that pay their hard-earned money to go watch him fight. And it is what it is. He's pretty much been saying, fuck the fans, fuck boxing. And I think Benavidez versus Bivol Beterbiev is a better fight anyway than Benavidez versus Canelo. Because if Benavidez were to beat Canelo, that's not impressive to me. Canelo turned pro at an extremely lightweight. He's a smaller guy. That's not impressive to me. Benavidez could fight at like cruiserweight. So to me, seeing Benavidez go up against one of the two best fighters in boxing, whether it's Bivol or Beterbiev, if he's able to beat one of those two, then that, to me, that's actually greater. That in my eyes would enhance his legacy more than him beating Canelo, because him beating Canelo, he's supposed to be Canelo in my eyes. But nonetheless, Samson Lukowitz, who works with Benavidez, also stated that they're intending to steal the Cinco de Mayo date from Canelo for next year for Bivol Beterbiev. So they want to fight the winner of that fight for undisputed in Las Vegas, Cinco de Mayo weekend, and make it a big thing. And I'll say it like this: I think the tougher fight of the bunch is the Beterbiev fight for one, because he hasn't been in the ring with him. Like, there's not that familiarity. Bivol, he sparred him, so there's a bit of familiarity there. Bivol is a great boxer, does a lot of things at a world-class level, but Bivol doesn't have the physical strength, the punching power, and the boxing skills that Beterbiev has. So I think Beterbiev is the more difficult fight. And I'll tell you like this: and you know what? I'm gonna tell these Canelo fans something that they're not gonna like, because this is the truth. If Dave Benavidez fights, let's say Beterbiev becomes undisputed, and let's just say he stops Bivol or just beats him. Let's say he just beats Bivol, becomes undisputed. If Benavidez beats Artur Beterbiev to become the undisputed light heavyweight champion in the world, in my eyes, not only would that win be better than anything on Canelo Alvarez's entire resume, but it would also be better and greater than any accomplishment on Canelo Alvarez's resume. So in my eyes, he would actually getting a win over Beterbiev or Bivol, who, by the way, if it's Bivol, if he fights Bivol, remember, Canelo Alvarez, and you guys see it. I'm in the woods. You guys see I'm in the woods, but it don't matter. Canelo Alvarez got absolutely positively exposed by Bivol. Absolutely exposed. So Benavidez to beat Bivol, that gets a feather in his cap that he has over Canelo. And I just think those guys, those two guys right there, Bivol and Beterbiev, they're on a different caliber than the majority of boxing. Dimitri Bivol is like quite possibly, in my opinion, the best pure boxer in the sport. Artur Beterbiev, whether you like it or not, the numbers don't lie. He's the best finisher in the sport. So beating any one of those guys does wonders for Benavidez's legacy in the sport, especially coming off of a lackluster performance against Alexander Gvozdyk. A win, but he's gonna need to be better to beat those kind of guys, and that much is for certain. So that's where we're at. I know Canelo Alvarez fans, there may be a couple in here that try to defend Canelo Alvarez and say that Benavidez didn't do this and that. And listen, man, Canelo Alvarez is in the driver's seat of boxing. Canelo Alvarez is the guy that sells the tickets. Canelo Alvarez, if he really, really had that ambition in his heart and really wanted to fight Dave Benavidez, it would have happened. You want to know why? Because any fight Canelo Alvarez has ever wanted in his boxing career, it happened. All right? He's the one that makes the money. He's the one that puts the asses in the seats. So if he can dictate things like that. And that goes for the guys like Gervonta Davis, Anthony Joshua. These kind of guys that are driving the gates and doing the numbers, if they really want to fight somebody, if it's really in their heart of hearts and they really put their foot down, they'll get the fights. And if not, then it just means they didn't want the fights. And it's really not any more complicated or hard to understand than that. So look, it is what it is. Benavidez versus Canelo. I'm glad that the saga is over. I'm glad that Benavidez is pursuing greatness. I gotta give him his due because I gave him a lot of flack over the years. I'm happy as hell. It's actually it's winning me over that Benavidez is pursuing absolute greatness at light heavyweight. Fighting guys that are his size, even bigger. Guys that can box, guys that can punch, dudes that are just different. Like, Beterbiev, Bivol, these kind of guys are just different. And Canelo knows that because he knows what Bivol did to him. So he can tell you better than anybody. But that's the news. As far as Canelo versus Berlanga, I like Edgar, but I got to call it for what it is. Edgar Berlanga, Canelo fighting Edgar Berlanga at this juncture of time is a cherry pick. It's a cherry pick. Edgar just got his first stoppage in years over Patrick McCrory, who was like probably the weakest guy in the rankings that they could have found in the top 5. He has a lot to prove, and I got love for Edgar Berlanga. I know his coach Mark Ferre. He's a fantastic person. I know Mark Ferre is working very hard with Edgar to improve his skills and make him that complete fighter that he believes he is. But right now, if we're just going off of recent performances and the landscape of 168, this is going to be viewed, and it should be viewed by most boxing fans, as a cherry pick. And Edgar Berlanga, it's up to him to change the narrative. It's up to him to show the boxing world who he is, because really and truthfully, for the most part, these last couple of years, he's been winning, but he hasn't, been sensational like he was early in his career. So best of luck to him. I wish him the best. I would like to see a good fight. I hope the event does well. I don't think it's going to be as successful as people think, because it's going up against UFC at the Sphere. I'm telling you guys right now, the Sphere in Vegas is going to become, I believe, I know the MGM Grand will always be, the best venue in the world as far as Las Vegas is concerned, but that's having events at the Sphere is just another level. So hopefully in due time, boxing can start doing events at the Sphere. But those are just my thoughts on Canelo Alvarez now fighting Edgar Berlanga. Those are my thoughts on Benavidez staying a light heavyweight and just him pursuing absolute greatness, trying to fight the Beterbiev Bivol winner for undisputed. You can't hate him. You can't say anything bad about Benavidez. Benavidez exudes the personality, the characteristics of a true fighter. He tried to give the fans what they wanted to see, which was the Canelo fight. Canelo would not oblige, no matter how hard he tried, no matter how much he called him out. Canelo gave the opportunity to guys that weren't even in the damn weight class, let alone top guys in the weight class at times. So it is what it is. You can't cry over spilled milk. Life goes on, and we will see what happens in September with Canelo Berlanga, and we'll definitely be covering it as things progress here on True School Sports more and more. So yeah, give me your thoughts down below. I'll definitely read those comments, and yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canada, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.